you clicked on this video, that means your car insurance likely increased as well. And I'm here to tell you why. So, first things first, everybody's situation can be a bit unique, but there will be some commonalities across the board, and that is what I'm looking to hit on today. So, again, typically, as you see, if you're a good driver, of course, if you have defensive driving, and pretty much not any activity on your record, you were probably shook by the increase, especially a substantial increase in the car insurance world of things. And so was I. Now, more specifically, when I reached out to, of course, my representative, I said, hey, I'm seeing this crazy increase on here. Haven't had any accidents or anything that, would kind of prepare me for said increase. And in that particular scenario, the rep moved forward to proceed to explain how the parts for replacements for said vehicle have increased due to the inflation. And because of that, we have to adjust our rates accordingly. Now, more specifically here, according to the U.S. 2023 Auto Insurance Study from J.D. Power, 31% of car insurance companies operating in the U.S. enacted a rate increase this past year. Overall, the industry reported an average price increase of 15.5%. Some states like Florida seeing rates as much as 88% over the past year. 15.5%, my opinion, is a gnarly increase. 88%, you go back and turn the car in. I don't know what to say about that because you need insurance, especially in most states, to be able to drive. Not all, but most. Now, as it pertains to the Florida piece, what they did see specifically in Florida was, of course, an increase with natural disasters, especially this past year. There were a lot of folks that got hit hard in the Florida area. And for that reason, there were a variety of an increase of total losses, which of course was then passed on to the insurance companies, where they came back to say, you know what, we're going to have to make, certain increases to be able to be obviously that they can afford and stay in business. So I want to say that's why the Florida thing is a little bit specific and why their end was so high. But for the average still to be 15.5 is a bit high. So I'm here to tell you 3 ways how you can lower your rate and some things you perhaps need to check for. Let's jump into it. So first things first, you can shop around. Now, myself, I have been with an insurance company again some time back for a number of years. And when again, I didn't like the rate and I didn't necessarily agree with what was going on. And again, it was, of course, the rate was the rate, not for a particular reason or rationale. I didn't want to shop around. I was a diehard. I felt like, how can I betray them? But at the end of the day, it's a business. It's a business, folks. You must shop around. You got to look at your options. Better to know your options than to decide that you're going to move forward and continue to renew with the same company just because they've been there. It's a business. You have a number, you have an account number with them. That's all it is. Keep it moving. Number 2, break down your policy. Now, for a lot of folks, they know, hey, I have insurance, but they don't necessarily know line item by line item, or more specifically what coverages they do have, unless it's outside of like an accident for needing a rental, or if it is for coverage for themselves if they were to be in like a bodily kind of situation, which is a very, very bad deal. However, they're all great things you need to know. However, if you are in an accident, how much is covered per person? How many days you have in your rental? What does your rental actually cover? What is the X number of dollars that it covers? What is the range? What do you actually need? So again, this varies by state to state. There are certain things that each state requires you to have, and there are certain limits that certain states and areas require you to have. So that those pieces of it, you may not be able to make certain adjustments, and that's just, it is what it is. However, depending on the wiggle room of what you're looking in your policy, there are perhaps areas where you may have coverage that maybe is far greater than the average, or that is what is required. In that situation, you may be able to make some slight adjustments there. And of course, you may be able to make other adjustments in areas of things that you found that you had on that you didn't necessarily need. So again, I think that's a great way to be able to speak with your representative, try to get an actual breakdown of the policy. Look at, of course, the requirements, look at the add-ons, again, that you feel is appropriate for your situation and what you need, and then take it from there. An example, if you feel that you're comfortable, instead of having a 60-day rental, you say, hey, you know what, if I get into an accident, I only actually need a 30-day rental. An example, especially if you're in a city and you could use mass transit for the remaining of your time, if that situation were to happen, something like that could maybe save you 30 or 40 bucks. Third, look at affiliate links. So affiliate links and or affiliations with your It could be with your school. It could be with another organization. It could be if you're a part of a nonprofit. It could be with your employer. Again, there are a variety of different affiliates or affiliations that your insurance company may have that are out there, and they are definitely worth looking into. So in that particular situation, if your employer, an example, has an affiliation with either your insurance company or perhaps a different insurance company, if you are shopping around, you may be able to get a discount off of that as well. And that's something maybe that you weren't considering or looking for, right? So definitely if you're an alumni there, for many folks, if you have, multiple degrees and multiple things, you are likely an alumni of several different organizations. It does not hurt to look into it and to see what is available. You can also do that with your representative as well. Many insurance companies allow you to do it online, so you can be able to at least see and know and give you some information about it, but it does not hurt. Pick up the phone and get that additional information. Now, for a couple oddball scenarios where your insurance increase may have transpired. Now, for two eyeball reasons your insurance may have increased could be that of the Hyundai Kia situation. So again, probably about a year and a half or so, we started to see those vehicles have issues with the immobilizers in the vehicles. And there was, I want to say, a TikTok challenge where teens were running off with vehicles basically that they started and kind of moved on about their way with a USB, just like a regular USB that you would charge a phone or like a regular device, and they were able to somehow jimmy it up and they were starting people's vehicles and it caused a lot of damage. So I have seen that, and in that situation there were several individuals, of course, impacted by it. There is a class action for it, but it did also impact or make changes to individuals' insurance. I have seen several individuals who were not able to renew with insurance company. The insurance company were no longer covering certain vehicles under that because of what was happening with that particular company. And also other folks where, depending on where they were, didn't necessarily get the coverage or feel that they got the coverage that they needed because of the particular incident. I understand they're supposed to be putting immobilizers in there, and of course newer vehicles 2022 and up, but that is another reason why certain insurance companies have increased the rate or have decided not to cover at all. Of course, not to cover is different from an increase, because if you're in a state where you need coverage and they're not covering you, they're not covering you. So that's definitely one of those issues you're going to walk around if that's something that you're deciding that you are going to keep that vehicle. Another reason where I have seen lack of coverage, or things that I have seen on social media and other media outlets, has been the EV charging ports. So if you have a newer vehicle or you have a electric vehicle, an EV, there have been certain faults, let's say, found in some of the charging ports of said EVs. I believe there are a couple class actions going about there as well. If that's an issue that you are having, definitely go through and look and see if one of those apply to you, because more specifically with the charging port, it seems to be that there was a potential that that was a known issue and it was still used in the vehicles during the production. So there's definitely a little more going on there. Definitely do your research and see if that applies to you. But again, there are some of those scenarios where after there was a fault in the vehicle and the vehicle was no longer able to charge, that those individuals didn't want to go through their insurance, where the insurance company was saying, hey, that's a manufacturer issue. That's not something that just happened to happen along the way. So definitely let me know your thoughts about that. Definitely let me know if you have an EV or if you were part of the class action, one of the ones that I had mentioned, and what's going on with that and all of the updates. Again, keep in mind those hot 3 items there where you may be able to get a better insurance rate. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.